Hello and welcome to the show. This is the Sales for the Nigerian Business Person podcast. It's available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes, or any podcast player of your choice. So subscribe for free once you're done listening to this episode, just in case you're using your web browser to listen. Today on the show, we have audio recordings from the WhatsApp School of Business program that I advertised on Saturday, the 15th of July 2023. The goal of the program was to introduce folks to the fundamentals of doing business in Nigeria and to show how sales and business development principles can help you overcome the harsh landscape of doing business in our dearly beloved country. I also wanted to answer general business questions posed by the participants, and the program was delivered entirely over WhatsApp for the course of more than 1 week. And this is an example of how you can get truly convenient business education in your pocket and learning over WhatsApp at your convenience. If you love what you hear on the podcast and you like daily access to me, to ask me questions related on how to sell in your business, then the WhatsApp Coaching Club is now open, and the investment required for that is only 5,000 naira a month. You ask me anything, I give you answers and assignments to move your business forward. So if you're interested, hit me up on the socials. Don't worry about how to spell my name. I spend most of my time on LinkedIn, and my name, Tabashima Ayede, is the correct spelling. You can find it in the web browser where you're currently listening to this episode. You see the spelling of my name, the email address, and the photo, and it's also in the profile of the podcast app where you're currently listening to my voice. So Tavashima Ayede, the correct spelling of the name, is there. So if you're interested in the 5K, the WhatsApp Coaching Club, the 5K monthly investment, then let me know. Hit me up, send me a message on 080 6466 2140. The country code for Nigeria is +234. And for those of you who are trying to save to start a business, I'm affiliated with a reputable financial institution in Nigeria that has 504 billion naira in assets. And what that means is they're not going to go broke anytime soon. They're a secure organization to work with. They're not going to run away with your money anytime soon. They're in the business of protecting and guaranteeing your savings. This is not a bank, so you're not going to have an ATM card. You're not going to get hit by lots of miscellaneous fees. And you're going to get an interesting, or rather, you're going to get an improvement on the interest that you get from regular savings banks in Nigeria. And then, of course, this is safer than using loan sharks for the capital to start your business, because loan sharks are going to want to embarrass you and your whole family, and they want you to put your father and your mother up as credit. Sorry, not credit. What's that word? As collateral for the loan. So if you're interested, then hit me up on 080 6466 2140 to get started on saving towards your dream. Now remember, it doesn't have to be saving towards a business. Any savings plan will do. People have saved with this organization for their children's education. Let's say, like me, you have kids in primary school and you're wondering about secondary school and the all-expensive university education. And then, of course, folks like my mom saving towards retirement. So if you're interested, hit me up and let's get you started. Now, on with the episode for today. Good morning, everyone. It's still Wednesday, the 2nd of August, 2023. So just like I promised earlier in the agenda message early this morning, we're here to tackle the second part of the question: how to run an NGO, how to run a charity or a not-for-profit organization. NGO just means non-governmental organization, I think. I can't remember. It's been a while. Anyway, so like I mentioned earlier, even though this is a for-profit group, because most of us here are doing one kind of business or another, I noticed that one of the people who joined us was someone that I chatted with on Instagram a very long time ago, Dr. Zainab. So we have a medical doctor here, we have a lawyer, we have architect, what else? People from all spheres of life, people who sell automated security, smart devices. We are really becoming a very varied group right now, people from all sorts of experiences. So one thing that we all have in common is that a lot of us want to make money directly from the activities that we're involved in. So I'm going to put money in my pocket from my consulting activities. The lawyer wants to put money in his own pocket. The architect also wants to put money in his own pocket, and the same thing with the doctor. So we are a for-profit organization. But the question that Mary has asked, Mary Speaks, is leaning towards charitable causes. Now, the difference between a business and a charitable cause is just this. For businesses, our marketing activities, our sales activities, our development activities give rise to profits. We get to pocket the profits. But for people in the NGO space, all the activities gives rise to some income. They don't like calling it profits. It gives rise to some income. But whatever income that they get from volunteers or from donors, they have to plow back into the charitable cause. But beyond that, you will find that good business practices, good sales practices, good management practices, whatever rules that apply in the business sphere, you will also find that they also apply in the NGO, in the charity, or the not for profit space. The only difference is the money that you realize from all these activities. What can you do with it? So, for profit people, we can put it in our pockets. For people in the NGO space, they have to plow it back to whatever it is the charitable cause, whatever the charitable cause is. I also think that this is also a worthy question to tackle because a lot of us here, even though we are lawyers, doctors, architects, people who sell hardware, consultants, wedding photographers, whatever, we'll find that a lot of us are also concerned about social impact and we're also concerned about legacy. So, because of that, we are well aware of the needs of other people around us and we try to meet those needs as well. That's the reason why a rich lawyer like Benga, who is part of the group and who set the record for helping out with the first question, answering the first question when the group started. That is why, even though he's a well to do lawyer, he puts time into microcredit because of the multiplier impact that it has. You provide small, people small money, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, whatever it is that you think is small in a relative sense. And then these people are able to do other kinds of businesses, buying and selling yam or akara or doing pure water distributorship or whatever. But these things have multiplier effects. So that's the reason why I think we can tackle this, because even if we don't run NGOs or charities now, like Mary speaks, chances are we might be involved in these sorts of things in the future. So it's a good idea to get, it's a good idea to start finding out about how these things work. So I've already given the first principle for Mary Speaks. Whatever principles that you have to apply for good business, good sales practice, good management, they also translate as well. The reason why I'm saying this is because Mary's NGO is focused on school children, personal growth, and financial growth. Yeah, to help school children grow personally and also financially. But then she has another business on the side, which is selling diapers, clothes, food stuff. It's a general mercantile kind of business. So, whatever it is that you're doing in the general business, apply that to the NGO as well. And then another thing I have to point out is there's one skill that is critical for people who run NGOs. Those of us who run for profit organizations, we have to use this skill, but it is more important for people who run NGOs, and that is stakeholder management. You find if you run NGOs that you're involved in lots of stakeholders. So, Mary is involved with school children. So she needs to have stakeholders. The principals of the schools are stakeholders. The Association of Abuja Principals, or is it Abuja Schools or something? Because I know that Lagos has those kinds of organizations. I'm assuming Abuja has those sorts of organizations as well. If she's based in Abuja, that's a stakeholder organization. The municipal council will also be a stakeholder she has to deal with. Ministry of Education will also be a stakeholder that she has to deal with. Anybody who has given her funds are also stakeholders that she has to deal with. So it's really, really important that she has tools in place for updating these people. Thank you very much for your contributions. These are the projects I've done so far. This is the impact that you've helped me achieve. These are the regulations that we have complied with so far. That's, if she's talking to Ministry of Education, or these are the regulations that we're having difficulties complying with. Can we get waivers on that? So stakeholder management now becomes even much more important. We for-profit people need stakeholder management as well, especially those of us who have collected investments, collected money from investors. We have to be in touch with our stakeholders. I have a friend who was a wedding photographer, and this was some of the problems. A wealthy uncle here, one or two people wanted to put together like 7 million to give the guy. I didn't think it was a good idea to collect it because alignments, interests were not properly aligned. He took the money anyway. Stakeholder management was an issue. The thing led to a big quarrel, and a year later, he had to sell everything to pay them back because he's a correct guy and he doesn't want anybody to lose money on top of his head. So he even sold the equipment that he bought before he collected money from that because he wanted to make sure everybody was settled. So yes, we have to deal with stakeholder management when we raise funds, but it's something that NGO people deal with on a day-to-day basis. So Mary's NGO is centered around school children. For those of you who listened to this first part, you remember that I gave a lot of examples around motherless babies, and that's because I wasn't aware of what her NGO was, and I wanted to get to the question quickly. So since the first part of the business, I saw diapers and baby food and clothes and stuff there, I just assumed, okay, maybe the NGO is also related. So, where was I? Okay, yeah, so that's to set the record straight. That's in case those of you who listened to the earlier audio are now listening to this audio and then you sense a disconnect like, oh, isn't this Mary Speaks? And the example that we're giving, we're talking about motherless babies. Now we're talking about school children. So that is the reason why. So, before I continue, I'd like to mention that this is a rather broad question, so tackling it in any fine detail is not going to be possible. So I'm just hitting some clear points on what I think are really important, especially from a sales and business development perspective. So, what was I? Okay, yeah. So stakeholder management, something that we have to do from a sales and business development perspective. Stakeholder management applies here, and it is critical. Then we also need to have a clear vision, as the average person likes to say, vision, mission, whatever it is that you call it. But that is all encapsulated in the sales and business development principle of prospecting, which is where we want to start off with a clear sense of who might need our product or our service, or who is our ideal customer target base, our ideal client base, all those questions. We want to know who or what exactly are we aiming at. So the importance of having a clear vision or using prospecting skills, business prospecting skills now to apply to the NGO become really, really important. So you have to ask yourself some more questions. Okay, primary school children, but what kind of primary school children? Because if we were in a normal business, we would not just say that 18-year-old girls are our target market because we sell makeup. We would have a sense of which kind of 18-year-old girl. 18-year-old girls in general, it's not a good way to market your makeup. But if you're thinking 18-year-old sophisticated teenagers who hang out on TikTok in Abuja, that's a little bit much more specific because now we know where it is that we're going to target. We know that we're going to use TikTok, and we know we're going to be using Abuja slang. So, like if you're a Yoruba person, for instance, you might cut down on all the Yoruba slang that you're using in your video. So, in the same way that being clear with your prospecting and your targeting helps in the business sector, in the not-for-profit sector, it's also the same as well. So, in this case, we have to be very clear. School children. Okay, no problem. Are we talking primary school children or are we talking secondary school children? Okay, we agree on whether primary or secondary. And then next question is, okay, are we concerned with boys or are we concerned with girls? Then after that is going to be, are we concerned with people who are in the arts or in the sciences or in the social sciences? And then after that, there are other issues like, are we worried about the people who are academically promising? So only worried about people who have okay, I can't remember how you track it in secondary school. In university, we use CGPAs or GPAs. Well, I went to Obafemi Awolowo University, and for us, it was the GPA. So, whatever the secondary school equivalent is, are we looking for the secondary school students that are academically promising, that have that high ranking, or are we looking for people who are financially indigent, no matter what their ranking is? So whether this person is scoring 80% or 60%, sure, we just want anybody who passes above 40%. But the most important thing is his parents cannot pay his school fees. So these are the sort of things we should be looking at when it comes to the, if we are running a business, this would be the prospecting stage. And the same thing applies over here in the NGO space, having a clear vision, having a clear mission. We need to be clear on our ICP, ideal customer base, our target base, whatever it is that you want to call it. Then From sales and business development perspective, we realize that sales and marketing is a team sport. It's hard to run sales and marketing by yourself. You'll get tired. There are too many activities, especially if you want to do an outbound and an inbound approach. You go and visit this person today, you drive to this person tomorrow, you have a meeting next tomorrow, and then after that, you're now worried about your Instagram. Who is manning the Instagram? Have people checked the DMs on WhatsApp? Or what content are we going to use on TikTok? All these sorts of things. So it's hard to really do all of these things on your own in the for-profit space. And when it comes to the NGOs, you guys, you need a team as well. So Mary, you need a team. I think it's something to highlight because I suspect that lots of folks who get into these things do it alone. My father had an NGO. He was concerned about rural urban migration. Basically, young boys in Tivland, Benue State, that's where I'm from, were running to the cities. That was back in the 80s and the 90s. And my old man was concerned, my father was concerned that all these young boys are running to the city with no skills. They're going to come here, and what are they going to do with their life? So before our young boys leave the villages and run to Abuja, we need to train them. They need to be trained on certain skills. So when they come to the city, they'll be useful. If not, it might make more sense for them to stay back home and farm. Now, that idea was not popular when my father used to talk about those sorts of things back then, but now we can see the result. My father is no longer alive, he's dead, but you can see the result. Go to any ministry in Abuja, go to any parastatal in Abuja, go and visit your friend in Abuja. The security guard is a thief boy. Chances are the security guard is Steve from my own place. I'm not trying to put down my people, but it's just a fact. My children's primary school, four security guards usually outside there. Three of them are TV. I go to the banks, whether it's Zenith Bank or any bank I go to, security guard is Steve. In church, the security guard is Steve. And those are the effects. Those are the things that we're seeing. So, where was I? Anyway, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, what I was just trying to say was that you need a team. My father did all of these things alone, and I think that that's the reason why his NGO was ineffective. If you're running it yourself, look at this huge task. Trying to educate people, make sure that the young boys from our village who are running to Abuja and running to Lagos are properly equipped is a huge task. You need a team. In business, I wouldn't have done that alone if I was selling things back home. Eventually, I would have gotten somebody, a store manager, a courier, a whatever. I would have gotten help. So don't be like my father, Mary. Make sure that you get some help because these things are tough. Then we also need to make sure that we have the right resources, fundraising skills. We need to raise money. Then let's see what else. Fundraising skills, donor relations, attracting volunteers. All these things are important. I'm not going to go over it again because the previous question that I answered, I already went into that in some detail. I'm going to share the podcast link so you guys can listen to it. Those of you who are new members, because I put it on the podcast so you can have access to it. Then there's a Niger factor that I want to pay attention to here. A lot of us who are interested in charities, like my father and like Mary, have paid employment or have another side hustle going on. So you need to make sure that you grow your main business or do really well in your job, because if you don't, you're going to end up cannibalizing your charity. That means the funds that normally should go towards the charity, you will take it because you want to eat, and apart from that, it's going to take your time and thought away from that. If you don't believe me, consider this. Let's assume Mary Speaks is married and they have two children. She's concerned about primary school children. But then at home, her husband has some difficulties. The money he was expecting did not pull through, so school fees is tight. Reasonably, he's going to say, Mary, look, let's be reasonable. You're worried about these children. Our own children are supposed to resume in 1 month. I don't have school fees. What do you want us to do? It only makes sense that Mary is going to say, well, the money that I should have put towards this. Okay, well, anyway, I don't know about Mary's ethical standing, so I don't know what she would have done, but what she will do. But I'm just trying to say that there are real pressures when your main business is not strong, or when your source of employment is not on point. So let's get rid of that Niger factor and make sure that main business is on point. Now, there are plenty of things to talk about because, like I said, this is a very general thing. There are more useful resources that you can follow if you're interested in NGO space. Follow British Council on Instagram. Look for their handles. British Council. So I can't remember any other one, but they provide much more tailored trainings on these sorts of things. For those of you in Abuja, their office is close to Maitama, where they have most of the trainings. Close to the Hilton in Maitama, so it's not hard to reach. And their events are usually free, so you're not going to have to pay 100K to go for these trainings. Sometimes they last 3 or 4 days. Very, very insightful. I know about these programs because back when I was a event and wedding photographer, I used to cover these sorts of assignments. Okay, so we've gone over 15 minutes, so let me bring it to a close. I'm going to put more of my podcast resources here where I've spoken about NGOs, fundraising, charities, those sorts of things, so that you can learn from them. This question was rather wide, so because of that, I can't be more specific and I can't give it more context than this in a short period of time. So, if you like stuff that you've heard here so far, there's private coaching available. I do that for 15,000 naira. Then there's also a paid WhatsApp group for 5,000 naira monthly where we dig in on more specific issues instead of just being very general over here. So, for this free group, I do my best to give solutions. But on the paid group, we're much more worried about execution and advancement. So that's the difference, pretty much. So you don't have to join, but if you're interested, those options are indeed available. So welcome to the newer members who showed up. Dr. Zainab, if I remember correctly, because I didn't store her number, but I recognized the profile picture. So Dr. Zainab, welcome on board. There's another fellow who runs a co-working space in Abuja. I can't remember the fellow's name. Forgive me. Welcome on board. All the other people who joined overnight, all of you, welcome on board. I hope you guys have fun here. I'll do my best to deliver value to you guys. And if you do find that this is really valuable, then do me a favor. Share the link. Invite folks. If you don't know how to get the link, excuse me, if you don't know how to get the link, ask me. I'll send it to you. And for those of you who know how, all you have to do is just tap the group details. You'll find it there, the invite link. Then copy and then send or share to whoever it is. So thanks for your time and attention. I'll be back in a couple of hours to see if there are any more questions to address for the end of for the rest of the day. And okay, yes, Mary still had some more questions, so I'll have a look at the messages that we exchange and see if there are other follow-up questions from this. So thanks for your time and attention. I'll see you guys again in a few hours.